Do you see this? Do you see this? This is what I'm talking about. This is the world of darkness that I love. This is Promethean the Created.
Life's tough
When you're in PC,
life's rough
when you depend on me,
to give you weapons, items, armor, information for your journey, and still you still push it and try to hurt me. Life's tough
when you're in PC,
life's rough
when you depend on
My review of Beast the Primordial was a little bit of a double-edged sword on my end. I got a lot of great views, I got some good comments, but I also got my fair share of negative attitude towards my review of the game. In particular, from fans of the game who did not take too kindly to me tearing their beloved game a whole new asshole. And to those people, I say, I get you, dude. I really do. Don't get me wrong here. It's one of the things that I absolutely love about World of Darkness, is that there's so many options to choose from. Sure, I'm not a fan of Beast the Primordial, but there are thousands of people out there that like the game and will adamantly defend it as just as much as there is people who are going to say that it's a festering pile of dog shit. World of Darkness is a great place because all of these people come together and we're so adamantly defendant of our certain games and hate other ones. It's really an interesting concept that you don't see in any other fandom. But that is certainly a problem for whenever it comes to my show. I'm here to, as objectively as possible, review different role-playing games in a way that is entertaining and funny. So, try to keep in mind, as much as I blasted or will blast in the future, certain World of Darkness games, even the absolute worst are decent compared to some of the other piles of horseshit that I've seen. I mean, listen, give me Beast the Primordial any day over the leading-edge version of Aliens or D20 Call of Cthulhu. Wait. If I just mentioned them, does that mean that I now have to review them? Oh god, what have I done?! But in all seriousness, World of Darkness is some of my favorite role-playing games out there, and seeing as how I don't want to leave my fellow World of Darkness fans on a sour note, I thought I would offer up a little palate cleanser before we dive into some of the more infamous World of Darkness games. So today, we are going to take a look at one of the most underrated games in the entire history of World of Darkness, and that is Promethean the Created. For the life of me, I do not know how classic World of Darkness could miss a subject like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster. When I think of vampires and werewolves, the next thing I logically think of is Frankenstein's monster, before I move on to Geist, demons, and ghosts. But I mean, maybe that's just me. It's like having Star Wars and completely removing Han Solo. By removing it, you remove a crucial aspect of the overall mythos. It took them until after they remade the big three New World of Darkness, Vampire, Werewolf, and Mage, to finally give an opportunity to the misunderstood monster. And boy, was it satisfying. Promethean the Created may not be the best game in the World of Darkness line, but it certainly is World of Darkness creative at its absolute finest. And in a gaming line that includes Vampire the Masquerade, Changeling the Lost, Changeling the Dreaming, Werewolf the Forsaken, Werewolf the Apocalypse, believe me, that is not a statement that I make lightly. As with most games in the World of Darkness line, the inspiration for the game is certainly part of the mythos, but it is only a small chunk of an overlarging, wider mythos. While the Frankenstein's monster are certainly a well-known amongst the Prometheans, also called the Wretched, there are 5 families of Prometheans which include Galateans, Osirans, Tammuz, and Ulgan. Forgive me if I mispronounce those. There are also some other lesser-known families and the primary villains of the game, the Pandorans. But let's focus on the characters themselves for right now. Essentially, in this game, you take on the role of creatures without souls, patchworked together by another creature and bestowed with the inner fire, or Pyros, that was stolen from the Greek god Prometheus millennia ago. As a Promethean, you are trapped in a state of half-life. In this state, humanity shuns you for being something different, otherworldly, strange, or bizarre. You are cursed to live a life in which humanity sees you as a monster, no matter how noble your acts may be, no matter how good you might attempt to be. You have to travel the earth with other Prometheans in this never-ending quest to work on your magnum opus, or in other words, to create for yourself a working and living soul. See? This is World of Darkness. This is that great, grim, grotesque world that I love so much. Unlike Beast the Primordial, where you're trying to impart wisdom by torturing people, in this, you are a tortured half-human that no matter how good you are, no matter how noble your deeds may be, you are shunned from society and considered a monster. And that builds up so much tension. That could actually turn you into the real villain that they've been expecting this entire time. You can actually become this grandiose villain with this very tragic backstory, all in the quest to actually just get a soul. It's so good! This is what I want from my World of Darkness game. I want macabre depression, darkness and grit, a spark of hope in an otherwise bleak and dreary world. It is one of the things that I truly think makes World of Darkness great. Sure, there is the whole gothic, revel in the night mentality, and don't get me wrong, it's fucking great, and I love that too. But World of Darkness is one of those series that walks a fine line between dreary depression and sadistic glee. It hits you with some heavy-handed shit, but does so in a way that is fun and can create some great role-playing. It is fun to step to the other side of the aisle and see what the world is like from the monster's perspective. Sure, there is plenty of creative licensing here, and you can make a game where players are these heroic characters, but really, in most mythos, you are taking on the role of a villainous monster stalking through the night. The story of the Prometheans is the perfect story of this. It is the sympathetic monster that is a monster nonetheless. A slapped-together entity that will never be welcome in society, yet yearns just to be normal. There is weight and gravitas in this thing. It is quite cool and well done. You can have a character that is actively still striving to be a good person while the world shuns them, or you can have a character that is literally cast off the world who has continued to shun them and hate them for the mere act of existing, creating this truly villainous character. It's awesome! Once again, why did it take World of Darkness nearly a decade to come up with this thing? There are some funny moments, too. Prometheans have uncooperative organs that may very well take some of the pyros and spark of life and use it on themselves. Your limbs can literally have a mind of its own. Sorry. Sometimes the most obvious jokes are the best. The stop hitting yourself jokes aside, this game can get some pretty heavy-handed stuff. No pun intended. I had a game in which a player's sentient hand was his best friend, and whenever it was removed, it made for a powerful narrative between the two characters. You see what I mean? This game can make a powerful and strong narrative from a fucking hand! This game also gives you a damn good reason why you should remain in a group of people. Sure, Prometheans are drifters, but considering that their mere presence is repulsive to most humans, it is good to have a safety in numbers mentality. It is a game that opens itself up, but also allows that lone wolf mentality, and it has group mentality, which is what you need in a role-playing game such as this. I mean, it is typically more fun to play a role-playing game with a group of people instead of just yourself. If I had one minor critique of this game, it would be the Promethean's power, aka the ability to use transmutation.
Let's start. Let's finish!
Oh, no. We do not cover anime in this series. Though, Full Metal Alchemist is still one of my favorites. No! Now, I do want to stress that I do think that this is a minor flaw, and is not even large enough to really detract from anything. Hell, I'm not even going to take many points off of it. I like it as much as the next guy, but I digress. The Promethean's power in this game, the ability to use transmutation, feels a little, well, there because it has to be. Because all World of Darkness characters have some form of mystical power. That's just the way that it is, and it adds to playability. Whether it be disciplines, edges, erte, or so forth, Prometheans have the power to use alchemy, the reasoning being that they need to use alchemy in order to forge their own human soul. The game uses transmutation very much like Full Metal Alchemist, in that it can be an instantaneous type of magic, as well as meticulous studying over the time in order to get a little more, I can use this in a fight or in a real-life effect. My problem with it, though, is not whether or not it's cool, or not whether or not it fits the narrative. In truth, it feels like an add-on more than a legit reason why a Promethean would have these powers and use them outside of the laboratory. Sure, they want to transmute a soul, that makes sense, but the ones that have an immediate real-world impact feel less as a result of years of alchemical study and more of, well, we have to give them power so people will play the game. You know, who knows? Maybe I'm just a curmudgeon here to nitpick, but for a game that is so well thought out as Promethean, this one does not exactly scream subtlety. Maybe I gave away my feelings of this game early on, but whatever. It's my show, damn it. Promethean is solid. Even the negative aspects of the game are small compared to the story that it tells, and the gameplay that it offers, and the true World of Darkness experience. Whenever the worst thing that I can say about a game is that the really cool powers seem just a little forced, and the characters are stupidly overpowered, which I can easily say about other games like Werewolf in an instant, that is a sign that your game is rock fucking solid. That is another tally in the crit column. So I have to ask you, please go to TannerReviews.com, like and subscribe this channel, and also please go to ProjectDerailed.com, where I can safely guarantee that at least 50% of us are not Prometheans.
Life's tough,
When you're in NPC.
life's rough.
When you depend on me.
To give you
Weapons,
weapons,
items, armor, information for your journey.